from sketches came back in the discussions, and people are trying to give each other ideas about how to cope with it.
When I did say to the cardiologist, why didn't you tell me that there was a possibility, albeit a tiny one, that we could have had a child with a heart problem, he just basically didn't assume that I was going to have a sex life anyway. They sort of think you're asexual, people with heart defects, that you're not going to get involved with anyone.
When you're growing up, you're basically the only person that you know at school who has congenital heart disease, and there are people that aren't able to relate to you. They don't. They feel distance from you, and you feel distance from them. Particularly, it's sports times when you aren't able to keep up, and it's obvious what limitations you have, and you feel slightly like a freak in not being able to keep up with everyone else. And when you meet other people, other congenital heart patients, you realize that you aren't a freak.
We can live as usual people, but we must sometimes have to sit down and take it easy. And for older people, they have big problems to understand that we can live with a heart disease. So it's many friends who always tell us, oh, sit down, take it easy. And they are, I don't know what you call it, but they are very protective to us. And it's not so funny to always hear, sit down, take it easy, because I know what I can do, and I want to do it my way.
Parents have got to let go. I find it difficult to let go, but you must. They have their own lives to lead.
By some of these children are really overprotected, and there's a very great danger. I think we must tell them not to do that, because you must think of the child, and when there can always happen something to you, and then the child has to be independent.
We're not talking about guinea pigs here, we're talking about human beings who have a full life potential. But please, under no circumstances, mollycoddle them and cotton wool. It just doesn't work. They find their own levels.
I think that very often, because they have been so ill in childhood, they are overprotected, very understandably, by parents. I think that's one thing. And I think that another one of our jobs really is to help both parents and partners with the difficulties that people face, and so they themselves are not afraid of it.
As a parent, we will always be concerned about them. Even when they will be 50, they will be still our children. I want to say it with words of Ibrahim Kamil, an Indian poet. He says, "Our children are not our children. We don't possess them. We can give them help, and if they ask for it, but we cannot act or think for them. They have thoughts of their own."
I think that because they've had to come to terms and live side by side with death, they are those of them who've come to terms with that, and not all of them have. I mean, which of us has? But because they have been so near to it, they have a perspective on life which makes them live every day as fully as they can. They live for the day, and yet they also have a wisdom which I think is denied to some of us. I remember one of the things that was said about my own son when he died was that he'd lived 80 years in 26. And I think I see that in a lot of the people who are here as well.
At one time or another, we all must come to terms with losing friends and loved ones.
It's like sheer hell. It's like, you can see it over the years, or over the months, over the telephone calls and the letters. You can see them deteriorating, and you think, am I going to see her again? Am I going to see them again? And when something goes wrong, it's sheer panic. and it's awful losing them. It's just, you don't feel sorry for yourself, but it reminds you of the situation that you could be in. You feel awful for the family. You just don't know what to say or do, because sometimes you feel as if you've got to live and carry on for them because their parents have lost them. It's very difficult.
I'm talking for myself now. For me, it's just gives me something to live for. Because I know I'm going to die as well. I will live shorter than normal people, and I want to get everything out of life that I can. And when somebody is in my group or in any group is dying, it gives me all the more reason to live, to make the most out of my own living.
I haven't asked them. They haven't actually told me any lifespan. And I suppose part of the reason must be because they themselves really cannot predict at this stage. Although transplant is becoming more and more common, the doctors don't really know who can go for how long.
And at the end of the day, none of us know how long we've got.
A recurring theme was that of relationships.
Relationships are always quite difficult and tricky to sort of establish if you've got a heart problem, because there's never a right time to actually sort of say, oh, by the way, I've got a heart problem. And when do you actually do it? Do you sort of not say it and then suddenly in an embrace you sort of whip your shirt off and you've got a load of scars? You can't exactly lie and say, oh, the cat scratched me, because it just isn't true.
If it's really friends, then after a while it doesn't play a role at all that you have a heart disorder. So that's the way I find out, being honest. And if the person I've met can't take it, then it can't be my problem.
If you have a healthy partner, nobody can guarantee that your healthy partner is going to overlive you. It may be quite usual, but there is no guarantee.
Nobody's certain what's going to happen in life if you're normal. But, you know, you've got these things to sort out and try and sort out before you even go down the aisle.
When you are facing the problem of kids, there is, first of all, there is a solution. Nobody has to say you're only happy when you're having kids of your own. That's not true. There is, if two people really love each other, there is a solution to everything. If two people can't figure out why they are together, then all kinds of problems can arise.
Well, I think the most important thing we do is to introduce them to each other. I think that many of them have been very isolated. It's been a very common comment that people have said, I never knew there was somebody else like me. Very often that's been said. And I think that they get the most help from talking to each other, so that's one way. Another way is that we have a helpline to deal with the problems, and we're getting up to 30 calls a week now coming in on that helpline from all over the country about things like employment, about difficulties with getting benefits like mobility, about problems with getting insurers to accept the fact that they are insurable, and just sometimes because they want somebody to talk to. I feel it's very important for a group like this to be a pressure group, not militantly, but to go on steadily and forcibly putting what they need and what is their right before the governments of their countries.
On the final day, Roderick Skinner of the Helios 2 programme of the European Commission addressed the delegates.
It's been a pleasure to be with you here today. I've thoroughly enjoyed the proceedings and hearing what everybody has had to say about what's happening in your own countries and the fact that you've been able to have this week to share experience and benefit from each other. In the Helios 2 programme, that's exactly what we've been trying to encourage. This Helios programme, it stands for Helping Europeans to Live in an Open Society. I think it's a question of developing a big principle of equality of opportunity. I think everybody should have that equality of opportunity, whether they have a disability or not. And you know, at the moment it is a very unequal world if you do have a disability. You know, if you consider things like employment issues or just economic integration, social integration into our communities. It can be hard enough at the best of times, but when you have a disability to cope with as well, it can make it even harder.
Lorraine Simpson was one of the organisers who enabled this conference to become a reality.
It's much more a question of what you can do, not what you can't do. And this is a very able group of people. It's not many of our young adults in society that get together at European conferences to discuss human rights and issues that they live with. So this group go for what they can do and are incredibly good at making the most out of every day of their lives.
And so the conference came to an end, but not without a traditional Scottish burn supper and traditional Scottish dancing, a ceilidh, and a chance for one last Highland fling.
You come together and then you go out again to your own life. But here you are very strongly attached because you've never seen each other before. That's what you say, it's a very big camaraderie. It's nice. I love it. I love to see that.
It's very sad to leave because we all came so close this week and we are all good friends of each other, and yeah, we had that really good experience to being together and solve a little bit of our problems, come and make breakthroughs, and we all hope that we can together as soon as possible back somewhere. I don't care where it is, but maybe as soon as possible.
So, like this. Yeah, it was great week.
I rode and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland before you. Of me and my true love will never be the same on the bonny, bonny banks of the Lowlands.
I want to see you all in Finland. Fine. Yes. Lot of whiskey. Okay, Lorraine, please. Airport.